Hi T, this is Francisco Grajala. I'm giving my reflection on first on Nikita. I I meant to do it and I completely forgot. And if I don't get the credit, I understand. No worries. But let me at least reflect on what I thought Nikita presentation was to me. So the wraparound services was really cool. I had heard about it before. I have been exposed to that concept, but she gave me the intricacies of working with a therapist. And she had said really powerful things that kind of scared the shit out of me. We're like, wow, she has the power to take away someone's freedom by suggesting this type of service or this type of service, or I remember that was really powerful to me. I remember she made me kind of feel small in a sense of that she's the therapist. So she has, and similar it might be like to if I was in another setting where it was like the doctor, where like there's a hierarchy, and like, does my opinion even matter? And should I even care? Should I really care that I am like, hey, what happens if I don't agree with the therapist? What happens if I do agree with the therapist? What if I'm in a wraparound service where it's multiple people and I'm just like, I don't know if are we really providing the best care? Those made me feel really like, wow, that's gonna be something that I'm gonna have to really see how I fit in if I'm in a wraparound service, and what's my role? Do I step outside of my role if I think the situation deems it so? Those are the thoughts that I thought with Nikita. Also, she was her vernacular. Chris talked about this. Her vernacular, the way she spoke about what she was talking about. I was like, wow, she's really speaking like an expert. And it's like, I don't really know as much about what she's talking about and how she interprets things. And when she gives out concepts of modalities and tests, I was like, wow, like you can really put a person on a box based off of answers. And I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I didn't like it at all. I was like, no, we're all individuals. Everyone has their own, but in one way or another, we can be kind of identified as this type of person. As far as I'm talking about, like the DSM-5, so I am appreciative of those tools. And one of our classmates reached out to Nikita and she gave us all these modalities that I can't wait to research, which was great because it's going to help me out with my research class a lot. And I was super thankful. So I guess, take it with a grain of salt. There's going to be professionals that you're going to work with that are going to know a lot more about what you know. We're social workers. We're this broad spectrum. We know a lot about different things. And I think it's going to be one of those situations where we're going to be jack of all trades, masters of nothing. And now that could be wrong. That's what I learned. And what I also learned about Nikita was how to handle situations with parents. Not only just parents, but also with providers. And that you're a segue, you're a bridge. Or if I'm part of a system, how I can best utilize, like if I'm in a wraparound system, how can I use the therapist that's in my circle? How do I use them? How do they use me? What's our roles? What's the intricacies? How do I best provide services? And not only that, but I'm part of a team, and I want to make sure I got my minutes. How do I help the team out? How do I shoot my clutch shots? Sorry for using sports analogies. Okay, now I'd like to talk about Chris. So I've talked to Chris before, or in our BSW program you had him as a speaker before, and I always identified with Chris. I was raised with a single mother as well, moved around, not from Hawaii, getting my bachelor's, now my master's in Hawaii. One day I want to return to California, and listening to him is something that makes me feel great. It just makes me feel really comforted. He's really a good group speaker. Like he doesn't make me feel like I'm listening to an instructor, but I'm part of a group. And the way he talks about the hotline and hospice inspires me to do that line of work. I remember feeling that same inspiration when he first talked, and then we went through a pandemic. And then I needed to take care of myself, and the way I look at school is totally different than when I looked at school before the pandemic. Now I look at school as, dude, take it day by day, turn in your assignments, make sure you're taking care of your mental health. I'm not like, am I gonna be a great social worker in a year and a half? Hell no, I don't think like that right now. Right now, because of what's going on, it's just like, yo, to really take it down to a day-by-day case and be the best human being you can be for this day. And that's just because of the situation that we find ourselves in. That doesn't mean that I don't care about being a great social worker. That doesn't mean I don't care about my professional development in the long term. It just means right now for this situation, I'm taking care of me right today. And Chris makes me feel okay with that. Where Nikita was like, oh man, am I thinking about my professional development? Am I thinking about... So it's great to have that contrast. It's great to have that contrast. And it's not a negative or a positive on Chris or Nikita. It's what it's stirring up inside of me, which is wonderful because it allows me to feel that, oh, okay, these are my insecurities. And Chris talked about them. I am insecure about my vernacular and how I express my professionalism and my knowledge. And then at the same time, I'm so happy that there's people like Nikita that are pros that take on those roles that I don't want. I want to be part of the team. I don't want to be the superstar. I don't want to have the hard decision. I might have to. Chris talked about calling CWS on one of her examples of talking with that woman and the children were kind of very hygienically unkept. And, and I might have to have a hard decision, but do I want to be that person? I'd rather not. I'd rather talk to a client one-on-one, give a suggestion, and be part of a team than to be the person that makes every single difficult situation. And I have to be open to being both. But where I understand where I am, I also, like, Chris gave me an understanding that, find your niche, find who you are, and try to be what you are in that situation. And also, Nikita kind of brought out, like, push yourself further. So be comfortable with who you are, find your niche. Chris, understand your insecurities, push beyond them. Nikita. Okay, T, thank you so much for your time. I hope this reflection was helpful for you to see where I am in the class. And FYI, 2 hours, 3 hours on a screen is the worst for me. What I've noticed is I have about an hour, then I start getting really losing my attention. I don't like screens. That doesn't mean that that's an excuse, but I have reflecting on this weird situation that the whole world finds ourselves in. For me, looking back on how classes are run, I would much prefer a system where I'm engaged for an hour and then I reflect back and then, like, doing something else. Maybe, but hey, KT.